much. Our next speaker rather, is Dr. Andrew Ciupek. He joined Lung Cancer Alliance in June of 2016. He's responsible for managing a research site network within the organization's lung cancer screening centers of excellence and leading implementation of collaborative studies with research partners. He oversees evaluation of a clinical trials navigation program and helps connect patients to clinical trials. Dr. Ciupek is a cancer researcher who, before coming to LCA, worked at several institutions, including Baylor College of Medicine, Medical University of South Carolina, and the University of Maryland Greenebaum Cancer Center. Dr. Ciupek?
Thank you very much. So thank you very much for that. One of my main roles at the Lung Cancer Alliance is that, as Hildy alluded to, is that I'm a clinical trials and treatment navigator. So what I do is I help translate the results of research advances to patients, their loved ones, and their caregivers so they can use that information to make decisions when they need to. And I think through that lens, I've really seen, where we've been with lung cancer and where we've come and where we have to go. And I think one of the first things that I've noticed is looking at advances in treatments. When we look even into the early 90s and in the early 2000s, a lot of treatment advances for lung cancer were centered around chemotherapy for advanced treatment, in combinations of chemotherapies and sometimes surgery and radiation. I mean, back then we just didn't really have a lot of options to offer patients, but that's really changed in the past 10 years. And one of the things that I like to say is that in the past decade, there have been more new approved therapies for lung cancer than in the past 30 years combined. And that's really just amazing to think about. And we've seen that come with waves. I mean, starting about 10 years ago, we had the advent of targeted therapies. So really being able to test a patient's tumor and find changes such as mutations that are unique to their tumor when compared to others and match those with therapies that are designed to attack those changes has really ushered in a new way of doing personalized care, personalizing it to the individual patient and what makes their cancer different from any other cancer out there, increasing number of options. We've had at least 4 major changes or mutations that have approved targeted therapies for now, with more to come. In the past 3 years, we've had another advent in treatment advances with the era of immunotherapy. And really, just those are therapies that help a patient's own immune system to find and attack the cancer. And in the past 3 years for lung cancer, we've had 4 new immunotherapies approved and continues to do research in that area. So you see, we've come from an era where there weren't as many options to now having a kind of a seismic shift in that, where there's just, a ballooning of treatment options that are available to patients. And it's not going to stop there. I mean, because we're continuing to do research, we're looking at developing new targeted therapies for changes and mutations that don't currently have one yet. We're looking at second-generation therapies that we can give after one stops working for certain patients. And we're looking at new ways to give immunotherapy, combining them with other therapies so that they work for more patients than ever before. And I think, that's great news and a real message of hope. But also, where we've seen advances, I think, as well as in early detection. I mean, if we look at where we came from the past, unfortunately, one of the most difficult things about lung cancer is that it's often asymptomatic until it's really in advanced stages, where it's spread outside the lung to other parts of the body. And so most patients end up being diagnosed in these later stages where it's most difficult to treat lung cancer. And really, even looking just 2 decades ago, we really didn't have any way to screen or to look at people who we knew were at risk for lung cancer and really help to catch their lung cancer early. But that's changed, as some of the other panelists alluded to, in 2011 with the results of the National Lung Cancer Screening Trial showing that if we utilize low-dose CT scanning, we can actually detect lung cancer early. And the results of that research showed that by doing so, we actually reduced the amount of deaths due to lung cancer. I mean, that's a seismic shift now, going from not having a screening technology, not being able to help people who we knew were at risk, to now being able to monitor and screen. And like before, I think the message is we're not going to stop there. We're continuing to do research. There's research right now on, looking better into the risk factors of lung cancer, discovering what additional risk factors are, and better understanding who is it that's most actually at risk for lung cancer, and who should we be screening, who should we be talking to. And, I think we've clearly come a long way, and now with all these new advances, we're in a great era of hope, but we have a lot of work to do still. And so I think kind of, to sum up we have to keep supporting the lung cancer research that's led to these advances. And also, through our own work, we have to make sure that, patients and their caregivers and their families and the public are aware of what these research advances are and what they mean for them, and getting out there and educating as well. So hopefully this era of improvement that we see doesn't stop and keeps going, and we hear more and more therapy options and keep reducing the amount of deaths due to lung cancer and making a huge impact there. So thank you.